These days, whenever Bill Burr uploads a video or makes a public appearance or even breathes, the comments section is instantly flooded with reactions like, "Your legacy is now Riyadh." That's it. I've been a fan of yours for ages. We're all very disappointed that you'd go support a government that actively executes journalists and anyone critical of their regime. Please cancel your set in Saudi Arabia. We love you, Bill. Do the right thing. Behind every great Saudi government is a comedian willing to take their bloody check. For weeks, comments like these flooded Reddit, YouTube, and Twitter with longtime fans accusing Bill Burr of hypocrisy, selling out, and even destroying his legacy. All of this started after Burr performed at the Riyadh Comedy Festival in Saudi Arabia, a country frequently criticized for its human rights record. Some people saw it as just another overseas booking, but for others, it felt like a betrayal from a comic who built his image on challenging those in power, now taking the stage under one of the most criticized governments on earth. But, before we get into the details of that controversy, this is far from the only thing Bill has been getting heat for, because long before Riyadh, there were other moments that made people uncomfortable and question who Bill Burr really is. There was the infamous Philadelphia rant, when he stood on stage in 2006, oh my gosh, that was 20 years ago, and spent 12 straight minutes verbally torching an entire city and wishing heart disease on the crowd.
Talk about heart disease, something you're all gonna die of, and I'm gonna laugh at your funerals. It's gonna be great.
There were the podcast confrontations, dismantling Joe Rogan over COVID takes, steamrolling Theo Von during an awkward exchange that left fans divided, and an H3 interview so tense that Ethan Klein later admitted it sent him into therapy.
With Bill Burr, I came home, and that's when I started taking antidepressants, and I went to therapy.
Wow.
It was soul-crushing.
And then came his anti-billionaire phase, where he went off on CEOs stockpiling wealth and, in his own words, said they need to be put down like rabid dogs.
The upbringing that they need. It's so fucking, these fucking billionaires, they need to be put down, you know?
He mocked celebrities for taking blood money from dictators. He built an identity around calling out hypocrisy, and that's exactly why Riyadh hit differently, because when the same guy who condemned performers for dancing for Gaddafi's children calls Saudi Arabia a mind-blowing top 3 experience of his life, man, with all that put together, everything just changes. Bill Burr was born on June 10, 1968 in Canton, Massachusetts, into a strict Irish Catholic household. He grew up in a structured environment shaped by religion, discipline, and traditional blue-collar values. In 1994, he moved to New York City to pursue stand-up full-time. There was no safety net. The early days were brutal. Small clubs and open mics with crowds that barely listened. Out of that pressure came the voice people now recognize instantly, an angry, observational style, fast-paced rants, and social commentary wrapped in frustration.
Thank you. How are you? Nice to be here. I'm an easily frustrated individual. Like recently, I went to go buy some t-shirts, right? All I wanted was like one solid color. You know, it took me 20 minutes just to find a t-shirt that was just like one solid color, you know? Because nowadays, all the t-shirts, they have to have like those stupid like balls to the wall sports slogans across them. You know what I mean? They say like above the rim, or like life short, play hard. There's like some 60-pound dork standing there wearing the shirt going, yeah, I'm crazy, I got no fear. Ugh.
He was not trying to be polished or likable. He leaned into irritation and broke down hypocrisy and attacked social norms. By the time he started gaining traction, the blueprint was already there, and the outsider kid from Canton had turned his social traction into a weapon. Bill Burr's early television exposure helped him step out of the club circuit and into national visibility. His appearance on Comedy Central Presents gave him a wider audience and positioned him among rising stand-up comics who were beginning to shape the next era of comedy. Not long after, he made regular appearances on Chappelle's Show, one of the most culturally significant sketch shows of the 2000s. I mean, come on, it's Dave Chappelle. Even limited screen time on that platform carried weight. At the same time, he became a recurring guest on the Opie and Anthony radio show.
Boys in here. We got the gang from the Chappelle Show. We got Charlie Murphy.
Bring him in. Charlie Murphy.
Billy Burr.
That environment allowed him to stretch out, to rant, to argue, to build rhythm in real time. Listeners began tuning in specifically for him. The show gave him a loyal fan base that appreciated his confrontational honesty and quick thinking. In 2006, that relationship expanded into Opie and Anthony's traveling virus comedy tour. The lineup included heavy hitters, like my boy Tracy Morgan. But the third stop of that tour would change Burr's career permanently. The show took place in Camden, New Jersey, just across the river from Philadelphia. It was an outdoor afternoon event, packed with a drunk and hostile crowd. From the start, the audience booed the acts. The tone was ugly. Performers felt it immediately. Even my boy, Tracy Morgan, couldn't handle it anymore and walked off stage after just a few minutes into his 20-minute set. Like, what the heck, man? Then Bill Burr walked out. Instead of trying to win the crowd back, he turned on them. For 12 straight minutes, he attacked the entire city. He opened by calling them losers and saying, "I hope you all die."
But you losers, I hope you all die, and I hope the Eagles never win the Super Bowl. Go yourselves. Fuck all you motherfuckers, and fuck the fire.
He shifted to personal attacks, wishing heart disease and cancer on the audience.
Some topics. Let's talk about heart disease, something you're all gonna die of, and I'm gonna laugh at your funerals. It's gonna be great. You're all gonna get cancer, which is fantastic because all your heads are shaved anyways. No one's even gonna notice. You're gonna get fired for coming to work too late because they're not gonna notice that you have bone marrow cancer.
When someone in the crowd yelled back at him, he fired directly at the individual, mocking his intelligence and appearance. This dude is insane. Instead of backing down, Burr doubled down. He began counting down the time left in his set. 7 minutes left. Then 6, then 5. Each minute came with fresh insults. He stretched the tension as far as it could go.
1 minute left in the period. Listen, this doesn't change anything, this set. I still hate you people. I hate this city. I hate the way you eat, your little shitty ass.
And then something strange happened. The crowd started cheering. By the time he walked off stage, he walked off stage, right? Still insulting them. They were applauding him. He had turned hostility into momentum through sheer defiance.
Listen, I'm out of time. You guys were here, man. Thank you very much. All of you go fuck yourselves in your own assholes. Have a good night. Thank you very much.
The rant spread quickly. It became one of the most talked about stand-up moments online. It elevated his national profile almost overnight. Years later, Burr admitted the performance was unprofessional. He said he threw fuel on an already bad situation, but he also made it clear he did not regret it. The Philadelphia rant stamped his persona permanently. He was now the comic who would fight an entire city and refuse to blink. The Philadelphia rant did more than go viral. It locked in the character Bill Burr would carry for the rest of his career. From that point forward, he was seen as the guy who will say exactly what everyone else is too afraid to say. The kind of man who leans back and then disarms the entire room.
Then we can sit around and listen to your friends have moronic conversations about the eggs, like, is that pesto? Is that pesto in your omelet? Oh, it's asparagus. It's asparagus. I thought it was pesto. I was dating this girl recently. She was really into women's issues, Because women always go on TV, you know, they say all they want is be treated exactly like guys. But if you listen to them, they don't. All they want is the good shit of being a guy. They're cherry picking. They look at a guy's life like it's like a buffet, right? Like you just can start picking out stuff, like same amount an hour, we'll take some of that, pay for the movie, that, you can keep that one, I don't like that one. This is nice, that's yucky, that's icky. Hey, come on, people, you can't choose. This girl gives me shit. She goes, well, why does a guy make more an hour to do the exact same job? I go, I'll tell you why. Because in the unlikely event that we're both on a Titanic and it starts to sink, for some up reason, you get to leave with the kids and I have to stay. That's why I get to.
But what makes Burr different from a simple loudmouth is that he is calculated. He is educated. He studied communications, so he understands structure, timing, and pressure points. When he goes after someone, he does not just shout. He exposes insecurities. He listens. He picks apart logic. He forces the other person into uncomfortable corners. That is why so many of his confrontations feel less like random outbursts and more like strategic breakdowns. Over the years, this dynamic has played out again and again. On podcasts, radio shows, interviews, he trolls, he intimidates, he flips the energy. Other comics sometimes walk in expecting a casual conversation and walk out feeling like they survived a sparring match. That aggressive truth-teller persona is not accidental. It became his brand, and it set the stage for the conflicts that would follow. Once that aggressive truth-teller image was cemented, it naturally carried into his podcast appearances. In 2019, Burr appeared on Theo Von's podcast. At the time, Theo was open about feeling burnt out. He talked about stress from touring the same hour for over a year. Instead of meeting that vulnerability with comfort, Burr immediately pushed back. He told him to toughen up, suck it up.
It was man, it was a bummer. Some of it was a bummer, but some of it we just moved the dates, and I'll just feel better when I get there. But I was just like experiencing like a ton of stress, man, burnt out. You know, I've been on the same tour for this hour for almost over a year now.
Dude, bands tour for like 4 years and then go right back in the studio, make another one, and keep going. You got to toughen up, man.
Yeah, you're right, huh?
You know,
what do I do? You think?
Camouflage hat, looking like a backwoods guy, all tough and shit. You can't handle doing your hour again. I mean,
when Theo mentioned struggling with working with other people, Burr doubled down and told him to get over yourself.
I have like a thing, yeah. It's like I don't like I have a tough time working. I just think I have a tough time working with other people sometimes, you know, which is one of the reasons why I got into comedy anyway. You know, I just think.
Well, I would say get over that.
Yeah.
Get over yourself and get over that, because there's a lot of great people in this business, and you're gonna miss out. And I don't know.
No,
you know what?
I
You'll
totally
say
respect that.
your loved ones will save money on the funeral costs because no one's going to go, so there's not going to be too many snacks they got to put together.
On the surface, it sounded like standard ball busting, but the energy shifted. It was clear the two rhythms did not align. You could feel the social misalignment, and it only became more awkward. Another awkward beat happens when Theo doesn't recognize Mary Tyler Moore. Instead of brushing it off, Bill lingers on it. Theo laughs it off, but you can hear him retreat slightly.
Drunk when your kid's around.
Like Lou Grant with a bottle of whiskey in the. Remember that on Mary Tyler Moore show?
I don't
She'd have a
remember
rough day and she'd come in. And
I don't remember the whole show.
I can explain it to you.
Yeah.
If I can explain it to you.
Okay.
This fucking guy just. I don't know what that is. All right.
No, I believe it.
I don't know. And the second I started to explain it, like I don't know the whole show. All right, fine, I get it.
I believe
That's that comic ADD. Like I don't want to. I'm not into it. I don't want to hear it. I got it. Your show. Go ahead. Continue.
I remember. All right, let's talk about old shows then.
We don't have to. I just was. It was so funny how you bailed twice on that. You made
Patty Duke. What about
that? You made
that?
me feel like an asshole. Like that was the 15th time I brought it up. Sorry, no Mary Tyler Moore. One of the great ensemble cast of all time.
I do know she just died recently.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to bring up a more positive story about the show, but yeah.
The comments section showed no mercy once the clip started circulating. I wonder if Bill is still his fave comedian after this brutal interaction. I felt like I was watching a nice dude try to impress his hateful father-in-law, but he's already decided he hates him. This is what it looks like when your two cool friends meet for the first time and don't hit it off like you thought. Rewatching this years later, it's pretty clear Theo was flustered and nervous, which added to the difference in generations and attitudes. Theo's the kind of guy to tell his friends he loves them. Bill's the type to roast his friend for being sad. That same pattern showed up during his now famous exchange with Joe Rogan during the mask debate. Rogan questioned whether people should, wear masks while walking down the street during COVID. Burr did not entertain the debate politely. He confronted him directly. He mocked the performative toughness around refusing masks.
Same people that were going in and out of the house who are not part of their family still going in and out of the house.
You want people to walk down the street with a mask on?
Let's not start this, Joe.
Do you, though?
Let's not start this. Okay?
Let's start it.
I don't want to start this bullshit. I'm not going to sit here with no medical degree, listening to you with no medical degree, with an American flag behind you, smoking a cigar, acting like we know what's up. Better than the CDC. All I do is I watch the news once every 2 weeks. I'm like, mask or no mask? Still mask? All right, mask. That's all I give a about. Then and then wait. And then everybody wore the masks. This is like rollerblading. Everybody rollerbladed, and then there was that one homophobic joke, and then everybody acted like they never did it. And then 100 million rollerblades got thrown into the ocean. We all wore masks, and then all of a sudden, people are sitting there. Well, you don't have the body type for it, dude. Your knuckles would scrape on the ground.
Across these interviews, a psychological pattern begins to clear up. Burr does not retreat from tension. He presses into it and tests people. He exposes weak points, and sometimes that leaves the other person rattled long after the microphones turn off. As much as Bill Burr thrives when he is in control of a conversation, there are moments when that control slips, and his defensiveness surfaces almost instantly. During one interview, he was asked about his writing credits and how he operated in a writer's room. The question itself was not aggressive, but the phrasing suggested he had not really written on a sitcom before. Burr reacted sharply. He immediately challenged the framing, questioning why the interviewer chose to highlight what he had not done instead of what he had accomplished.
Bill, are you the head writer on the show, or how do you work in the writer's room on the show? Because you write your stand-up specials, obviously you're a writer, but you've never really written on a sitcom before. If you go through your credits, you hadn't really been on a show before.
Why'd you have to bring that up? Just right out of the gate, he goes negative. Never really saw you write on anything before, Bill. There was all these other nice things on your IMDb page I could have brought up, but I noticed this one glaring thing that you've never done.
That sensitivity became even clearer during his appearance on the H3 podcast with Ethan Klein. At first, the conversation flowed, but as the episode went on, Ethan began interrupting him more frequently. You could see the irritation build. Burr would start answering a question, and Ethan would jump in and attempt to finish his sentences. The interruptions chipped away at Burr's patience. And then Ethan shifted to family questions. He asked about Burr's daughter and siblings. Burr immediately shut it down. He refused to give details, explaining that the internet is full of unstable people and he does not share personal information like that.
So, yeah.
Really? How many siblings do you have?
I don't know, dude. The internet's too weird to give out all that information.
Oh, you don't even want to say how many because you're afraid that it will
Yeah, by all means,
compromise
keep
your
talking
privacy.
about it. Is there any way you can cut this out? I'm honest, dude. Like,
seriously?
Yeah, no, dude. There's lunatics out there.
Okay.
Whoa.
Off the air, I'll cut it.
All right.
Jeez. I love how surprised he is. Jeez.
Well,
There's
you can mention the amount.
Absolutely crazy people.
I can actually respect that. The tension peaked when Ethan revisited the Philadelphia rant. Burr made it clear he was tired of being asked about it. Ethan tried to frame it as admiration, but Burr read it as another attempt to poke at a sensitive subject. The conversation turned uncomfortable, and as the podcast went on, the smiles came around less and less. After the episode aired, Ethan later admitted that the appearance affected him deeply. He said it contributed to him starting antidepressants and going to therapy.
Episode with Bill Burr, I came home, and that's when I started taking antidepressants, and I went to therapy.
Wow.
It was soul crushing. It felt like a rock bottom for me because I was having a hard time with the podcast and interviews in general, and that for me was...
However, for Burr, it was likely another intense exchange. Bill has over time shown how he reacts to perceived slights. He avoids vulnerability and fiercely protects his personal life. And when he feels cornered, he pushes back hard. As Bill Burr's platform grew, his commentary shifted beyond social awkwardness and interview tension into something broader. He began positioning himself as a critic of wealth concentration and corporate greed. This phase became one of the most quoted eras of his podcast. You see, Bill went on extended rants about wealth inequality, arguing that the system was fundamentally broken. He framed it in simple terms. If someone works 40 hours a week, 160 hours a month, they should be able to pay their rent.
My new perspective is there's nothing wrong with being a billionaire, but if somebody is working 40 hours a week, 160 hours a month, and they can't make their rent, you're not paying them enough money. Maybe you should just be worth 900 million.
Yeah.
Like, how does a CEO take a 8-figure bonus and none of your employees have dental insurance? They can't even go out and get a filling. There's these nerd billionaires out there saying, I want my employees to come to work terrified, go to bed terrified, wake up terrified. I mean, you don't think it's that, Then they're terrified to go out and spend any money.
That is something I definitely agree with. Holy sh! He spoke about people going to bed stressed about bills, while corporations reported record profits. For him, that gap was immoral. He specifically called out CEOs collecting 8-figure bonuses while their employees could not afford dental care. He mocked the idea that an executive needed another massive payout while workers struggled to cover basic expenses. He painted a picture of a country where productivity was high, but the rewards were hoarded at the top. Then came the line that would follow him for years. He said, billionaires need to be put down like rabid dogs.
People that are struggling out there because of these billionaires, and they got us all arguing liberal and conservative. We got to stop doing that. Like, I am so tired of hearing about people going to bed worried about what's going to happen next week. There is so much money in this country, and there's so much work being done, And if you work a week at a job, you should be able to pay your rent. You shouldn't have to go out and get a job and still be struggling. It's bad for the country because then the kids don't see their parents and they're not getting the upbringing that they need. It's so these billionaires. They need to be put down. Like rabid dogs. They're like rabid with greed and just going out and just dividing everybody.
The phrasing was extreme, intentionally provocative, but the message underneath was clear. He believed unchecked greed was dividing the country and destabilizing ordinary lives. He also criticized entertainers who took what he called blood money. He referenced major artists performing private gigs for authoritarian leaders and their families. He specifically called out celebrities who performed New Year's shows for Gaddafi's children for $1 million, questioning how much money someone really needs to accept a gig tied to a regime accused of serious abuses.
Sure, Beyonce and Mariah Carey actually did private New Year's gigs for $1 million. Did New Year's gigs for Gaddafi's kids. Can you believe that? How much money do you need to make, You're going to take a gig where you're going to go dance like a goddamn clown for a mass murderer's kids? And then you take that blood money and what he's done. You couldn't remember that he claimed he was behind the Pan Am bombings that killed fellow Americans? The is wrong with you?
During this period, Burr positioned himself as someone willing to call out both corporate executives and entertainers who compromised their principles for massive checks. That moral framing built credibility with a segment of his audience. He was not just roasting sports teams or awkward interviewers anymore. He was attacking the power. And that is exactly why what happened next hit so hard. In early 2024, Bill Burr performed at the Riyadh Comedy Festival in Saudi Arabia as part of the kingdom's larger Riyadh season entertainment push. The event was staged as a major international comedy showcase featuring a lineup of well-known Western comics. Bill was one of the biggest names on the roster, which is why his appearance drew the most attention. For weeks leading up to it, online conversations were already heated because of Saudi Arabia's human rights record and the optics of American comedians performing there. When he finally did the show and would later describe the experience, he framed it positively.
The Royals loved the show. Everyone was happy. The people that were doing the festival were thrilled. And yeah, it was just this great positive thing.
According to him, the rules were simple. You could joke about almost anything except religion and the royal family. Beyond that, he said it felt open.
And then to their credit, they said, all right, what do we got to do? And they just negotiated it all the way down to like, you can talk about anything, other than a couple things, which was basically, religion, don't make fun of the royals. And other than that, it was everything was like.
He emphasized how the organizers negotiated boundaries and allowed real stand-up to happen within those limits. Then he went further. He called it a mind-blowing experience. Not just good, not just interesting, mind-blowing. He repeated that it ranked among the top 3 experiences of his career.
It was a mind-blowing experience. Definitely top 3 experiences I've ever had. And it was great to experience that part of the world.
For supporters, it sounded like a comic describing a powerful international show. For critics, it sounded like something else entirely.
Did you guys hear that Bill Burr did that Saudi Arabian comedy festival? That's just proof that you can never trust anyone from Boston.
Yeah. Like, just say that. Why don't they all just say that? Because he was like, I think good things are going to come of the fact that I did this. It's like, you don't have to do that.
Yeah.
Like, you did it because say I did it for that good money.
Yes.
Like, at least be honest with me.
Yes.
Don't insult my intelligence.
Yeah.
The backlash was very personal, as many comments on posts called him woke. Others referred to him as a tool, and some others were just plain disappointed. Bill, we're super disappointed. He sure did go woke. I used to like him, but the man is a complete tool. Of course they did it for the money. Who doesn't do majority of the things in their life for anything other than the money? You see, for years, Bill had built a public identity around calling out corporation and condemning celebrities who accepted what he once labeled blood money. He openly criticized performers who took private gigs for dictators. He mocked artists who performed for Gaddafi's children, asking how much money someone really needed to dance for a mass murderer's family. That is disgusting. Those clips resurfaced fast. People lined them up next to his Saudi appearance and said the contradiction spoke for itself.
Bill Burr, who believes that the systems of the United States are deeply corrupt, so corrupt that he is a man speaking truth to power when he appears on every late-night television shows to the hoots and hollers of a bunch of morons in Manhattan. He went over to Riyadh to pick up a giant check, and then he talked about how he found out that over in Riyadh, it's people just like us because there's a Starbucks over there.
And like my whole idea of Saudi Arabia is what I've seen like on the news. I literally think I'm going to land and everybody's going to be screaming, "Death to America!" And they're going to have like machete.
Then came the money rumors. Critics claimed he accepted around $1.5 million per show. Whether confirmed or not, that number spread everywhere. So Bill does have a price. Oh, how disappointing. He became the symbol of the argument. Not just that he performed there, but that he did so for a massive payout. The comparisons made it worse. Sean Gillis publicly revealed that he had been invited to perform in Saudi Arabia and turned it down.
Said no.
They were asking me to go to the Middle East soon.
What? What? Where? Why?
Saudi Arabia and UAE. I think I'm gonna pass.
Yeah. Is it for the troops?
Not for the troops.
What?
It's for the Saudis.
For the Saudi princes?
Yeah, and everyone's like, yeah, you should do it. Everyone's doing it. It's like, for Saudis?
Yeah.
Weren't those the 9/11 guys?
So I thought.
Aren't they exactly the 9/11 guys?
It was Iran, wasn't it?
Yeah. It's all been Iran this whole time.
He even joked that organizers doubled the offer and he still declined.
I'm not doing it.
That is good. I admire that.
Then they doubled the bag, and I was like, but I'd already said no. I took a principled stand.
Yeah, against Saudi Arabia.
I mean, how do you...
That detail gave a direct contrast. One comedian refused on principle and the other accepted. The narrative wrote itself, and that became the core of the free speech critic. The conversation was no longer just about a show. It was about whether the aggressive truth teller who once condemned blood money, as I've said before, had crossed a line he himself drew. The numbers began telling their own story. Episodes of his show that once pulled strong engagement started dipping. Some uploads fell below 20,000 views. The like to dislike ratios turned ugly. One episode showed roughly 652 upvotes against 2.8 thousand downvotes. That is not normal fluctuation. The shift in audience mood was clear, especially in the comments. Best way to watch this: open it, mute it, then say this: Billy the Butcher. Old Billy no spine. The only reason to click on these is to watch what was your community roast you. Unsubscribe to Billy. You blew it. Didn't they just find multiple new mass civilian graves where he recently performed overseas? Bill's rise and fall should be studied. After that came the content complaints. At one point, he reused an old podcast segment instead of recording something new. Listeners noticed, and that fed another narrative that he was burnt out or simply not putting in the same effort.
He was too lazy to record an entirely new podcast this week, which, by the way, just consists of him about garage doors. So he does 30 minutes and then he recuts that hour and 9 minutes from the previous episode into the new podcast.
I hope you enjoy it. That's it. All right, I'll see you.
Throwback episode.
This is lazy, bro. You're Bill Burr. You have one of the best voices in America, and you can't just record a 30-minute segment of yourself talking. You have to cut last week's episode back in. That is the most washed shit ever. And again, it's not that hard. Zach and I have already been live for an hour and 18 minutes today, just without a script, without anything, just talking. It's not that hard, bro. You have to be the laziest ever if your job is to talk, and not even for that long, not even for as long as we talk, but you still can't produce the goods. Holy shit.
Whether fair or not, perception matters, and perception was turning. His response did not calm things down. He referred to critics as sanctimonious. He suggested the outrage was fake, that people were grandstanding.
Because of all of these sanctimonious cunts out there that are just don't really sincerely give a shit. I don't know what it is. Their parents didn't hug them. It's bots. I have no idea. Like, they go after your wife. It's like, she didn't open for me. Like, I don't understand.
You're talking about online hate.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Do you read that stuff?
Dude, I haven't been online for like a month. I finally viewed the internet the way I viewed drinking towards the end, where I was just like, I don't want to be doing this, but I'm doing it every day. And this doesn't feel good. Right. So...
At times, he implied some of the backlash came from racist Americans who did not understand the Middle East. That only deepened the divide. In one moment of frustration, he even floated the idea that maybe the internet should just be shut down, that racist people should not be allowed to talk to each other online. It sounded less like a joke and more like exhaustion bleeding through.
Christ. Let's hope they shut down the... What if they just shut the internet off? Oh my God. What if racist people couldn't just keep talking to each other on the internet? Wouldn't that be fantastic?
He also insisted he was working on himself. He claimed he had gone a month without losing his temper.
Anyway, with that positive note, hopefully this will be a good year. I don't know, man. I don't know. Who knows? Who knows what happens? All you can do is just try to be a good person yourself. I'm still in a good mood. I am. A month and 3 days, I have not lost my temper. I've gotten upset. I've been flustered, but I've stayed out of anger.
The same sharp energy that once dismantled cities on stage now seemed turned inward, and the audience could feel it. At the same time, the podcast was taking hits. Bill's career stood at a strange crossroads. He stepped behind the camera with Old Dads, a film he directed and starred in. It did not land the way he may have hoped. Then there was F is for Family, his Netflix animated series. The show ran successfully and developed a loyal audience. It proved he could create long-form storytelling, not just stand on stage and rant. All of that suggested something important, which is Bill was not dependent on the podcast alone. He had film, television, and directing ambitions, and it is possible that he might pivot fully into acting and filmmaking, leaving the podcast era behind if it continues dragging down his image. Despite everything, Burr has continued to maintain a visible presence in comedy circles. He is confirmed as part of the lineup for Netflix is a Joke Fest 2026, a major Los Angeles comedy festival running May 4th through the 10th that features hundreds of live stand-up shows, podcast tapings, variety events, and more. Netflix is a Joke Fest 2026 reveals star-studded lineup, including Ali Wong, Bill Burr, highlighted, Nikki Glaser, and more. In addition to live performance work, Burr's profile has been boosted by critical recognition. His 2025 comedy album, Drop Dead Years, earned him a second Grammy nomination, highlighting the strength of his stand-up material and appeal, even amid controversy. On the acting front, Burr continues to work in film and television. According to his latest public credits, he is cast in The Social Reckoning, a 2026 film by Aaron Sorkin that serves as a narrative follow-up to The Social Network. The movie is scheduled for release in October 2026 and features Burr among an ensemble cast. Financially, Burr is estimated to have a net worth around $25 million in 2026, largely built on his comedy specials, tours, acting roles, and media projects. A little excerpt here. As of early 2026, Bill Burr's net worth is estimated to be between $14 million and $25 million. His wealth is built on a long career as a stand-up comedian, actor, and creator with major income sources including his popular Monday morning podcast, Netflix specials and acting roles in shows like The Mandalorian, dun, 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 and Breaking Bad. He also maintains a strong touring presence, regularly listing stand-up dates on his official website, and continues to use his podcast platform to engage with fans and address controversies. Love him or hate him, I love him. Bill Burr remains one of the few comedians who refuses to soften his edge, even when that edge cuts into his own legacy. That's it for today. Hope you all have a great day, a great afternoon, a great night, a great week, and a great month. Thank you for listening. Subscribe. Do all that stuff if you want. I don't know. I just thank you for watching. And yeah, you all have a great day. See ya. Bye.